So I think, yes.
Where do you get the banned products in Europe? Where's that list?
If you go to that International Chemical Secretariat, that's a chemical list, but that's a list that's developed in Europe.
And that has the list of banned products. Or banned.
Yeah, and there's like I said, there's 50,000 chemicals on that list. And so it's an Excel spreadsheet, so it's not nearly as user-friendly, but you can literally just, under search, type in the case number, and then if it comes up on that list, you know that you don't want to use it. So good question to you. Mimi.
Not to throw cold water on this whole process.
No, this is why we're here, to learn from each other.
You are leading edge, you are our example, okay, darling. But what does that do to our professional liability when you start being a professional expert in this arena?
I'm really glad you brought that up. What I did, and I actually brought it for any of the designers who want to look at it, in the research documentation that I put together for the client, I put together a disclaimer at the very back. I had to. I had to CYA, and that's why I say it's ultimately the client's decision. So I do have that. If you want it, just email me or get my card and email me. I'm happy to send you that last page disclaimer. And frankly, I borrowed it from my friends at Building Green because they're kind of in the same place. They recommend all these products, so I changed it and made it more appropriate to what I was doing. But very good product. Very good question, Mimi.
But I also think it goes back to the team. And
yes.
This level of respect and trust. And from the beginning, everyone knows you're going down a journey together, and there is not this perfect answer for everything. And if you know that up front, then hopefully you're building that team together.
Yeah. And I think that's really important. A couple clients that I've had in the past, and Scott and I worked on a project together a couple years ago where everybody on the team was on board with regard to sustainability. It wasn't about the healthy issues so much, but obviously health went into it. And not only was that like the most amazing project to work on because we all were at the same level of respect and ownership, but we also took responsibility for the decisions that were made. And Scott just was sharing today that this client loves this house and he's going to put it in a trust because he doesn't want anything to happen to it. I mean, that's not, you can't have a better compliment than that. So, yes?
Could you speak to any kind of, you're putting all these materials together,
yes.
Very specific. Did any of them void warranties for other products? And then how did you get around that?
I can't speak to the warranties, but I will mention that if you have a situation where you have to go with a product that has some chemicals in it that you may not want, it can potentially mix with another chemical or situations and cause a whole new situation. I have no clue how to address that, frankly. And then from a warranty standpoint, I wish Keith was here because he could really speak to that.
The one that comes to mind with me was the drywall mud, the Mirko. It was definitely an experiment to do an entire house out of it. And he was very clear with the owner that we've never used this. We're hearing really mixed things about the application of this product. And we did. We had shrinking in corners, we had cracks. There were, it definitely was a product that took some real working with. And he's like, I'm not. My installer is not going to warranty, but they're going to have to come back, or they might have to come back. So just being very upfront and not pointing fingers, but just everyone know we're trying a product here that none of us have worked with. Before.
Well, I would think contractually in architect-owner contracts, you could put in some disclaimers, some verbiage that at least makes that owner aware of where we're headed with all of this.
Yeah, and I think this project is this process is so in line with integrated project delivery, which is where our industry is going anyway. So it's really neat to see this, and that hopefully all that is going to be woven into
starts with
IPD, exactly.
So yes, hand them back.
You said you're going to speak more in depth about insulation.
I can speak about
So I'm going to let Sarah do it.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
It is a real challenge. Yeah, we typically build with super insulated roofs. So you were looking at trying to get at least an R6 per inch out of our insulation, and most insulations that were acceptable to our client were cotton based, and that just didn't work in our application. We finally ended up with a bio-based
Western Fibers.
A Western Fibers product, but that took a lot of vetting, and we ultimately got a piece of it and smelled it, and we were confident with that. But we probably have 6 different types of insulation in the house.
Do. I'm looking at it right now. So essentially, the interior foundation was Western Fibers cellulose, bio-based spray foam, for certain applications in the house.
Where we needed those super insulated roofs
Yeah.
where we had small cavities to do it
Does
in.
that mean the soy? Because that's only like 25%.
It's a closed cell spray foam insulation, and I think it did have some soy in it. Western fiber cellulose, and then on the exterior of the ceiling, we use the polyisocyanate, which obviously you don't want to have on the inside,
Right.
but it was on the exterior of the building.
So that was
because
a
you had to do- you had
and
to
that was a compromise
compromise.
that our client was willing to do when that was on the outside. Same thing with our exterior paint. She was like, I don't want to be picking a paint that I have to repaint every year. I'm gonna compromise and go with a paint that's a little maybe has a little bit of toxicity to it, but that has more durability because it's on the outside of the house.
And then our vapor retarder was Certainty membrane, and I'm really lucky that I have about 3 or 4 amazing building science friends at Building Green, and I actually called them because I'm like, we're
Building
not-
Green loves Certainty.
It's like, we're not finding anything. Can you please just make sure that this is going to work for her? Greg?
Yeah, in one of the sessions yesterday, there was 2 more wood fiber-based insulations mentioned. One was called Steico, S-T-E-I-C-O, and another one was Paddleflex, and I'm not sure they were US or European.
European.
It's interesting. One of the installations that we thought we were like, great, this is going to work. There was one installer in the country.
Yeah.
This is another really interesting thing, and that's why the contractor
Sourcing.
has to be on board with sourcing of things, because you may find the perfect product, but you can't get it here in the time frame. And this was a product the guy had just gotten certified in Vermont. Didn't feel comfortable coming out here,
Yeah.
and we really had finally cracked that nut of the right installation, and then we had to go back to the drawing boards on it.
I'm glad you brought that up, Sarah, because a couple times what would happen is I would find some great products, but I wasn't looking about where we could source it. And I'd send it to the team, and it's like, we can't get this. It's not available, and they won't come here. So that's another layer you need to add in there, and then who's responsible for finding out that
And I
information.
think in establishing the team, kind of determining what are the people's strengths in the team, and understanding what everyone's role is.
Exactly.
So then each person's kind of signing off on each product. Keith could, the contractor can sign off. Yes, we can get it. Yes, I can warranty it. I feel comfortable enough, which ultimately the owner's going to want to a certain
We're
level.
done, aren't
And then the owner's happy with the material, and we are happy guiding the aesthetics.
So we could talk about this for hours. I have another presentation I have to present across the hall in 10 minutes, and there's another one in here. So let's take this outside, and I'm here through the end of the day, and Sarah, I think